Hey, Google, stop.
Yeah. We're going live. All right, we're live. Give me just a minute. Hi, guys. We are... Hi, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Janet here with Cape Breton Originals. Hold on. Alexa, shut up. All right. This is my cousin, Shelly Lynn, and she's going to teach us how not to be stressed out. And Lord Jesus, do I ever need that, as you all know. All right, Shelly, the floor is yours, and tell people what's going on and what you want to help us with.
Awesome, Janet. Well, I just want to thank you for having me on and being able to share this with everybody. So just a little bit of background for myself and how I get into this and stuff like that is I was always questioning, like, I don't understand why I'm struggling. What am I not doing right? Like, why is, life kind of throwing me the curveballs, and why am I getting dealt the shitty cards and stuff like that? Right. So,
yeah,
over the years, and I want to say probably mostly in the last 5 years where I've really resonated and was trying to figure out, what was going on with my life. I was doing everything good. I was taking, all these courses. I was doing all the good things that were kind of, putting me in the right direction of making things happen for my life, but nothing was happening. And so sat, and trying to figure out why things seemed to never go my way and, all that stuff. I was feeling stuck, depressed, major anxiety, choosing shitty relationships. And when I talk relationships, I'm talking like, friends, family, and partners kind of thing or whatever. Just wasn't getting into good relationships.
Hitting everybody's checkbox. This is everyone.
Oh, yeah, right?
Hit your live button.
Yeah. And so it wasn't really until I realized what was holding me back was the story I was telling myself. And it was the story of, my upbringing caused it, or, like I said, that I was just dealt shitty hand, with the cards or whatever. I was born into it, spending, this is just who I am. This is just my life. Right. And kind of almost thought, okay, well, I'm just going to accept it. And then I, started doing therapy, and I started doing, just dealing with different mentors and stuff like that. Carrie Grant was my therapist. And I'll tell you, she was not just a therapist. She was literally like a mentor. She introduced me to a lot of like different energy stuff and stuff like that as well on holistic modalities. And I just got to realize, like when she said, what story are you telling yourself? And it was literally this story of, it's my parents' fault, or it's my boss's fault, or it's, that son of a bitch pissed me off, or, and constantly externally blaming others for, why my life was so crappy.
And then we're all been guilty of that.
100%, 100%. Right. And so when I started, and believe me, it's not an easy process. It's something that you have to faithfully, committedly practice day in, day out. But what I really loved about it was that, the more I practiced, the more aware I became. So I was not only just aware of like, okay, that person triggered me by what they said from my own trauma bonds and stuff like that I learned about, but I'm now in control of how I'm responding to that person
and that's what we need to learn.
Yeah, exactly. And let me tell you, there's still a lot of tests out there, but when the awareness piece is key, right? So once you become aware and you start practicing it, you build new synapses connections in the brain, and basically, which is just different pathways in the brain that are saying, okay, well, I'm used to doing things this way, and now I'm going to do them this way. So you're just building, redrawing a map.
Reprogramming.
Yeah, you're literally reprogramming. Yeah. And we are able to do that really well. I'd have to say that a lot of my mentoring came from meditations with Dr. Joe Dispenza, that I've done a ton of his meditations and stuff like that in the past couple of years. And that really has honed me in on changing that, creating a new map in the brain kind of thing. Right.
We need that.
So what I think the hugest shift for me was that awareness piece. And then I just started changing the beliefs that I was telling myself, because some of the beliefs that I noticed that I had were not mine. They were what my parents said, or they were what teachers told me, or coworkers, or whatever. Right. I realized that they weren't my beliefs. So I started by just creating a new belief system of what my values and beliefs were. I think was probably my biggest thing. And Above that, I said, or above that, like, I was always go, go, go. So I was like not really knowing where I was starting and stuff like that. So I had to hone in on those beliefs, right?
You were in
And
robot mode, just going about life and trying to not lose your shit while you're, doing stuff, basically, like
exactly.
me now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I literally had to go inside, like my subconscious mind, basically, and erase all the counter beliefs that have been stopping me from achieving the things that I wanted to in life, or that, that little voice inside you that says, I know that I, can have better, or not
Meant
even
to be
have
something else.
yeah, yeah, right. And so that brought me into yoga and meditation and stuff like that, and just different modalities with shamans. I said, I kind of went down that holistic path as well, clearing energies, different stuff with, ancestral trauma and ancestral bonds and stuff like that have, come back into our fields. That's another topic for another day for us, but
Yeah.
that is definitely existing. And
Yeah. No, well, being part of the same family, we've got the same trauma and the same backpack of garbage that we're trying to flush away.
absolutely right. So, and
Yeah,
hopefully I can help everybody with some of the stuff that I've learned for sure.
I'm sure you can.
So I think the biggest takeaway for me is that I no longer allow what I don't believe for me, that's for my highest good, to be in my life. So sometimes that might take me a month to realize this person shouldn't be in my life, but it's a lot better than 10 years that I've spent with, doing things, or like, a job, like, literally just changed jobs, in a job that I was in for, 4.5 years was not serving me. It was just a very toxic environment. And, obviously whether you pray or whether you manifest or whatever it is that you do, but you take the steps towards making that change. And I did make that change. It happened for me. So, and it's just believing. I think the biggest thing is that, going back to energy and frequency and stuff like that, is our thoughts have frequencies, right? So if we're always thinking negatively, that frequency that we're thinking negatively on is attracting more of that to us, because we're like magnets, right? So if we're thinking, it's more than just thinking positive. You have to believe the positivity of what you're thinking in order to, connect and have that magnet of positive stuff come towards us. So I think the biggest thing was, like, the ego kicks in and says things like, oh yeah, sure. Like, no, this is all you're going to be, or whatever. We have that, the good angel and the bad angel, as, grandma Nan used to tell us, right?
She did.
And so you got to give that little ego a little flick or whatever, and just say no, like, like, fuck that. I know that I'm destined to do this, and I can.
One thing that you sent to me that has me very intrigued, and I really can't wait for, everybody else watching this, is sound frequencies and how they really throw our moods into a negative or positive spin. Because I never ever thought of sound, other than music was my happy go-to. But there's other frequencies that I never even put a thought to, realization to, that they could drive you crazy or they could make you happy and horny. Who knows?
and yeah. Well, and I didn't put that in there just because, it's a little fun, right? And we all need that a little bit,
right?
But anyway. So the funny thing, Jen, honestly, is that a lot of Prince has a background frequency in his music of 432 hertz. And so that is intentional. So it's to draw you to that music so that you have, and a lot of music does. This is going to throw you for a loop, though. So when you go in certain stores, they are playing certain music, one, to keep you in that store, two, or to get you in and out of that store. It's all based on the stuff in the store. Wow. And so a lot of places are intentionally playing certain musics, either to keep you there or to get you in and out, because in the unconscious mind, it's hearing that, like, that horrible sound in the background that's intentionally playing. Wow. But I think, yeah, isn't that crazy? When I learned that, I was like, no way.
I'm going to
wonder I don't like.
I'm going to be reevaluating every store I walk into now. Be like, what am I hearing? Are they trying to keep me here? Or are they trying to get rid of me?
I'll tell you. The awareness piece will be huge for you after this, I promise. Yeah. So like I said, just in talking with you and stuff, like, everything is energy. I mean, and this is not anything new. This is science. It's based, everything has energy to it. Believe it or not, a table has energy to it. If you can understand that, there's a frequency to that. So getting into this, going back to the music part of it, like sad music, like when we're sad, we tend to play more sad music. It's because our frequency is drawn to that. And in a way, sad music is kind of good for us when we're sad, and we want to play this sad music because it does actually can give us a release, right?
It does.
And
like
so
we're like your sad system.
Yeah. And the same thing with, you know, you want to clean the house, say, you know what I mean? You put on the old 80s and you rock out to these new songs or these old songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the same thing, like the dance music, whatever picks you up or whatever. And yeah, again, DJs, they know these things as well. So like at a club or something like that, they're playing the right music to get people up because they know what's going to connect with them and get them going.
Makes sense.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm. So I guess the crossover points. What's that?
Whoever thinks of those little things in life, because I mean, sound is something we hear or don't hear all day long.
Absolutely. And I'm going to get into that because there is a lot of like just sound that we don't even consider to be sound. You know, so I'll get into that. But yeah, like people don't understand certain things that may not even, you know, recognize as sound. But so just getting back into the music part of it, you know, putting a good old song, like I said, dancing, whatever. But the crossover points for all four primary emotions, like the happy, sad, angry, and calm, lies in a frequency range of the 417 to 440 hertz. And so the frequency, certain frequencies might promote, like I said, you know, the low vibe frequencies or whatever can promote us to feel crappy or like crazy, like you said, like, you know what I mean? Like certain music, some people, heavy metal music. I'm going to tell you a little story, and I didn't put this in my blurb, but I'm going to add it to it. They took 2 barrels of whiskey and they actually put Metallica to 1 barrel of whiskey, and they put Beethoven to another barrel of whiskey. And then they fed the barrels of whiskey to people. And the people that drank the Metallica whiskey were like, woo, crazy drunks, right? The people that drank the whiskey from Beethoven were like happy-go-lucky drunks. They were like, woo! So that in itself, yeah. There's a lot of like, and I know this is going off topic for a quick second, but when it comes to water and stuff, and I talk about my bowls that I'll be doing at the sound bath, you can use and put these frequencies into your bowls. Like there's these things you can do, right?
Here's what I want to know. How do I know what frequency I'm in? I mean, what frequency are we talking in? I haven't got a thing. I don't know about decibels or hertz, and why I'm asking you is I had a cop come to my door one time. Hi, your music's too loud. And I was like, well, what number should it be on? He said, well, I don't know. It's too loud. Well, how do I know when it's not going to be loud enough? He said, well, I'm not knocking on your door.
Okay. So yeah, that I think that just goes back to like people like, I don't know, what is it, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock? We can't have music.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to decibels, it's got really nothing to do with the decibels, because the decibels is the volume of the music, right? So you can listen to these frequencies with headphones on a low mute, and it's still going to resonate through the brain as those frequencies, and you'll still get them. But so this is a good opportunity to talk about words and how words have frequencies, how the things we say to ourselves, how we talk to ourselves has frequencies. I don't know if you've ever heard of Moto, but he's a guy who does a water experiment where he literally takes water, 2 glasses of water, and he talks, you know, lovable, very positive, influencing things to the 1 glass of water, and he doesn't say anything at all to the other glass of water. Within a couple of days, that water is actually like turning moldy and green, and it's nothing. The other one is like crystal clear, like they do the pH on it. It's perfect. It's great. It's absolutely great. So when you think of that, so when you think of the water experiment on that, and you can look it up on YouTube, it's a great place to see that comparison because he does a bunch of these tests. But our body is made up of what, 70-80% water?
Yep.
So you can imagine what frequency we expose ourselves to, that what it's doing to our body on a completely physical, mental, and, you know, emotional level, right? And so again, going back to the words, like, you know, somebody calling somebody an idiot or whatever, right? We or I may not take that and, you know, really resonate with that and say, oh, whatever, like I feel like crap, that guy said I was an idiot, da 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 da, or whatever, right? We don't know how it would affect somebody else though. that person could take that negative word because it's a low vibrating word and it could detrimentally destroy them inside. And now I'm not saying that it couldn't to you or I, but if we're vibrating at a higher frequency.
Oh no, someone calls me an idiot, they're going to get a punch in the head if I can reach
we're going to work on that, Janet.
Good, because we need to.
All right. So yeah. So that'll bring me into a little bit of the frequencies actually. So let's just use the 528 hertz frequency. And that is an absolute, what they call a love and above frequency. So you can go on YouTube and you can find anything on a meditative level, on a music level, and say 528 hertz and play it. And it's going to sound like literally like a big dessert to your ears, more than likely. And very seldom have heard anybody say that frequency bothers them. But I can tell you that there are some people that the bowls will agitate. There's people like with autism or ADHD and stuff like that just can't handle the sound pitch, some of that those bowls create, or tuning forks and stuff like that. And that just goes to show like about their nervous system is just in like that stuck in that flight or fright. Of course, and then with autism and ADHD and stuff like that, there's obviously other things going on in the brain. So those people can sometimes not process those sounds more effectively. They can listen to white noise or brown noise or stuff like that. Those things are meant for people that can't take that high pitch frequency and some of these frequencies that we use in sound for healing, right?
I'm trying to add everything into the background. So if it looks like I'm doing something, I am.
The chakras,
yeah. So you keep talking and informing us. Yep, because I certainly need lots of help.
Okay, perfect. So this is just a tip of the iceberg, what we're talking about tonight, but most definitely that 528 hertz is really good on a physical, cellular level. It's very good. This is because the frequency stimulates the body's natural healing process, that frequency. And so these frequencies have been around, Jen. This isn't something new. Like these are things that have been around for a long time, right? And so people are just obviously looking for more holistic ways of healing. And realistically, putting religion and all that stuff aside, like these are modalities that have been around for a long time that people just maybe, haven't been exposed to, or they weren't spoke of enough. And so, with everything that's going on in the world today, of course, we want to be able to tap in, and everyone's always talking about reduce stress. Well, these are modalities that literally have scientific research studies that show the reduction in stress by listening to these frequencies, by doing things with sound that people are not aware of.
You're talking, I'm going to try and find one on YouTube. So keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And so basically, frequency has been proven by research to reduce the cortisol level in our body, which is the stress hormone. And so by reducing that stress hormone, it of course has a positive effect on the body just in itself. There isn't anybody that I don't know that couldn't benefit from something as simply listening to these different frequencies while cleaning the house or taking a shower or, and just incorporating them into maybe a self-care routine that they currently have, right? The big thing is if we keep the body out of a stress mode, which, I mean, let's face it, everything we do from the time we hit the ground running in the morning is stressful. It's stressful. I got to walk the dog. I got to get the coffee on. I got to get to work. I got to, and you're in that rat race mode. And so I'll tell you, it takes a lot of discipline sometimes to change that. And I have to honestly say that I am definitely very grateful that I've disciplined myself enough to give myself an extra half hour in the morning to process and do some of these different modalities that I've incorporated into my self-care routine in the morning, because in the logistics in the company that I'm in, it's a very high stressful environment. But I can tell you, prior to learning these modalities and incorporating them into my life, anxiety ruled my life. Now I go to work and yes, I can get there and, the shit's hitting the fan, but I'm already, I've already worked on my nervous system to have it calm. I'm not saying that it doesn't get elevated, but I know how to calm it back down and keep that cortisol level down so that I'm not feeling the effects.
What we need.
Yeah. Right. And
that's a life skill.
It is a life skill. And Jan, what I love so much about it is that it's not even that hard. It's literally something that is so easy to do, 5 minutes a day to just start out. Like, and so I tell people, you know what, I know life is busy. I know it's, it's like, where can I fit in that 5 minutes? I promise
That's what I
you.
was going to say. What is the best time of day for somebody who has a hectic life and every minute of the day is accounted for? How do they fit it in?
So I'll tell you right now, honestly, like on a brain level and without going too deep on what that looks like, first thing in the morning when we're kind of like in that still sleepy state, it literally basically is the best time to get into our subconscious mind. So before you get out of that bed, sit up. There's 5-minute meditations that you can do in the morning. There's 5 minutes that you can even just sit in stillness and listen to one of these frequencies. But that's the best time to do it. If you are the type of person that jumps out of bed and jumps in the shower, play it while you're in the shower because you're still kind of in sleepy mode. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Just get it introduced to the body. That's all I can say. And if it takes 5 minutes, and then I promise you, it's almost like, we're addicted to caffeine or people, cigarettes or whatever, they crave it. I promise you, like, I know when I haven't done it. Do you know what I mean? You feel the difference. And
Yeah.
so you'll want to keep continuously incorporating this into your life. And so, and there's so much more than what I'm, talking about on the call today. But, in future, I can definitely, help
Hone in
people
more.
align.
And yeah, so you're just giving a baseline today of exactly, an introduction of the types of different things and how it will improve your life after you get practicing it.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
like
it
that.
brings me into the conversation on our what I'm coming home for, and I thought just a little bit of a background on that is that I've been away for quite a few years, and anytime I've come home, it's always been for a funeral, sadly, or somebody being really ill that's going to pass. So I thought I'm going to go home. The last time I was home was in June, and that was for a funeral, and so this time around I was like, I'm going to go and I'm just going to go do the Cabot Trails. And then, of course, I had this whatever you get in your gut that says, no, 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 you're not just going to do the Cabot Trails. You're going to actually go and you're going to do a sound bath. So that's why I thought I need to do this because I looked around down there. There ain't nothing down there of the sort. And I thought, how are they like, and I mean, maybe there is, I shouldn't say there's not, but it's not on a very public level. So not certainly when you search it anyway, and that's for sure. And I just thought, on a level of mental health, that this is absolutely something that can definitely, anybody can do, and so
I
it's
want
not
you to show the sound bath because I had no idea what to picture when you told me about a sound bath. I'm picturing a full tub. I'm in the tub and I'm like, how am I going to be in the tub
right.
around people?
Yeah. A sound bath. Yeah. A sound bath is a combination of musical instruments, and that can range from a lot of things, but each instrument has different frequencies or can do different things with the chakras, as the picture that we had up there shows. And it's the different energy centers in our body that are aligned to our nervous system, different organs in the body. In Christianity, they're referred to as the seven sacraments. And different religions have different aspects of this. The chakra system is more in a Hindu yogi kind of way, but resonating level is definitely, these are where we come from on an energy level. These are in our bodies, and there's many more chakras. Don't get me wrong. These are the main 7 that we deal with.
Okay.
And just to give you a brief kind of overview before I go into the sound bath, because mostly what I'm working on is these chakras in a sound bath and trying to align and balance them. And so the crown chakra basically connects us to the divine and our higher self. So that, that little voice that you hear that's saying, don't do it or do it, you know what I mean? Usually that's our higher self, or what I call the better person of us that's trying to direct us into the right way, to put it short and simple for the crown chakra. Of course, our third eye chakra is our intuition. This is basically literally our third eye, where we're supposed to be seeing things that are, better for ourselves as well, like our go-tos. Our throat chakra, our ability to speak, communicate, say what's on our mind and stuff like that. A lot of things that can disrupt this throat chakra is emotional abuse, people that have been abused, PTSD, that don't, that have basically not spoken up in these kind of situations. So this chakra is usually very, very, very congested and takes a lot of work to get cleared. But once
you think I'd be mute?
well, I don't know. Obviously, like that's and literally speaking up for yourself though can counteract that, of course, and make it balanced, and it can be strong. The heart chakra, of course, is my absolute favorite, and that's where we radiate love from. And I mean, on a real level, Janet, everything really is love. I
Mm-hmm.
think we get caught up in the who's better than me, or why is, resentment with people, and why are they do I work so hard and do this and do that, and nothing comes easy to me, and this person just it falls into them and stuff like that. Those kind of things really hurt us on our own physical level. And
Yep.
so trying to just, break free of those is so hard, especially if it was a learned behavior, like you were around that all your life, or, you know what I mean? It's something
Mm-hmm.
that we have to break free of. But realistically, when we're in a vibration of love, I promise you, there is nobody that can piss you off. There is nobody that you will resent. And there's absolutely nobody that you'll be jealous of, because it is a place of comfort, of just being happy with who you are, happy with life, and just taking it for how it is, and not worrying about the outcome of situations. It's just that
Well,
simple.
here's the thing. A lot of people get so down a rabbit hole of negativity. How do they get out to see the light of what this can offer them? That's the flipping point for me. Like,
It is. And Jen, the only thing I can say, and speaking from experience of being in that place, is literally having to go inward. Like, we have to. I had to stop going. It's this fault. It's because this happened to me. It's
so
because
you
that
have to
happened to me.
recognize your own negative thoughts and realize that you're your own worst enemy.
Yeah. And the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's the same
Yep.
thing with us. You have all these healing, or all these tools that, you can use, but it's like looking at them sitting and rotting on the floor kind of thing. You're not doing anything with them. They're not going to work. And it's like anything, you have to practice. You have to work at it. You have to make it happen, right? Especially if you want to. Sure, there's going to be days where you're like, I don't want to get out of bed. Well, you know what? Then put the music on and play it in bed. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But keep it consistent. The practice has to be consistent, right?
Has to.
And
So
yeah,
how does somebody start it? So go into
well,
the tell us about the rest of these the rest of the seven, and then tell us how we start. What's our
sure.
first
So
step?
that's the heart. And then so the actual the sorry, the abdominal one basically is where our solar plexus. Sorry, I was drawing a
I
blank.
distract you.
The solar plexus, yeah, the solar plexus chakra is again like all knowing. This is where we're, listen to your gut. You got to get there. It's that confidence level that we lack, right? And or have abundant. We're abundant in it. And then there's the sacral chakra again. That is a lot of people have unbalance there if there's been a lot of sexual abuse, or just a lot of negative sexual things going on in their life. They really have a lot of disruption in that sacral chakra. And that is more of like, again, drawing a blank, it's more or less basically helping us to sorry, Jen, I have to tell you, hang on, because I got to look at it now, because I think it's because I'm on here that I'm drawing a blank. But
Look, this is like stage fright. I tell that to Marie all the time. I get on here and I'm shaking and I'm nervous, and she's like, "You can't tell." I was like,
yeah.
"Well, good thing you can't read my insides." I said, "Because you'd be like, you're a goddamn mess."
Right. Well, and I don't want to mislead anybody, so I want to make sure that I'm saying it right. So
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to take this down for just a minute, and I'll play one of these things I found on YouTube.
absolutely.
Hold on. You find that.
Are you playing music?
I don't know what that wants to do. We're talking about an ad? I don't think so. Here we go. This says it's a 528 hertz, a happy frequency.
I love it. I already felt like my
And I
brain.
do. I
Yeah,
seriously feel relaxed. It's like, I could listen to this. It's not a horrible sound, and I do feel comforted.
yeah. And I'll tell you, I subscribe to Apple Music because I'm obviously an Apple person, but I
Dude,
also subscribe to YouTube because there is so much on there. I do say if you're going to resort to YouTube as far as doing things like that, or if you've got like what's the other one? The other music outlet that people use,
oh,
Spotify, I think
Spotify.
it's. Yeah. So like there's
Yeah.
tons of that stuff on all of these media outlets, right, that provide music. So don't, you know, you can go on that if you've got a subscription, just type in meditation, type in, you know, frequency music, all that stuff is there. Like it literally is there. But getting back to the sacral chakra, so this is the center of emotions, feelings, and stimulates pleasure. It plays an active role in sexuality and expression of our sexual needs and desires. You can absolutely see how this could be affected by someone that's been sexually abused or has, you know, some kind of problems going on that level, right? Common characters would be, you know, showing that blocked is that, yeah, no sex drive, like absolutely no means to pleasure at all in your life. Like you don't want to do anything pleasurable, right? So that would be a sign of that chakra needing to be balanced. And then going into the root chakra, that one is our like end all be all grounding chakra. So this one here really resonates for me. I'm constantly doing it. I'll tell you, just being around negative people can set this off, environments. But it's compromised. It ground your stability to life is what it is. The basic needs such as food, water, shelter, and safety. So I'll tell you, when a person is living in survival mode, this chakra is completely balanced or completely unbalanced because you're not grounded. When you're in survival mode, you're constantly looking for, you know, ways to survive, and whatever means that means. You know what I mean? Like some people would resort to whatever. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like I can't even think of anything right now, but. You know, survival mode
or shoplifting or doing things you wouldn't normally do to somebody else. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And then in the back of your mind, like, yeah, you would never do harm to somebody else. But in the same breath, you're like, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of situation, right?
It's
and you're
me
always
them.
Yeah, you're constantly you can't settle. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this, but you got plan A, B, C, D, and F, you know what I mean? E and F to fall back on. Like you just don't, you know, go with the flow. And these are again basic touches. I do a course on chakras actually here in Calgary. So maybe we can do that one day as a call or whatever. I can go through the actual chakras, how to balance them on your own, because you can actually do that.
Is I'd like for someone to say what exact type of issue they have from going through your list of chakras, and then do the therapy that you would do based on what they say. Then I mean that'd be like a call in, but it's a video in. And
I'm
I think
totally
that
open to that.
great.
Yeah, I definitely open to that. And a lot of the things I can use the crystal bowls when we do it, or I can use tuning forks because I have the tuning forks.
Show them this. When you showed this to me, all I could think of was tapping politicians on the head with it.
Well, let me tell you. Yeah. So this definitely is definitely. Oh, I don't know where my little. Oh, there it is. I was like, where do my little?
Your fire stick.
Yeah. So this here, this is, I have there's a lot of this. They're called solfeggio frequencies, and they are, if you look up the solfeggio frequencies, there's a history to them. They're not new at all. They were actually used back in the Greek mythologies and stuff like that. These things have been around ancient Egypt. Like the Egyptians used this stuff. Like these are things and modalities that have been around forever. Yeah. And they've talked about it in some of their scriptures and stuff like that. So it's like, why are we not utilizing these things that have been shown to work? So I'll just be quiet because, you know, I can ramble, and I'll let you listen to this.
Now, what's the point of that whole, what should I be feeling, doing, seeing? Like, how should that make me feel?
This frequency in itself is the 528 that you just played. So this would be clearing energy that's stagnant, that's negative, that shouldn't be there. So if I was putting this, so if you had a blocked chakra, a throat chakra, and I was putting this there, it could definitely change that energy that's there to unblock it.
Look, marriage couples need those things, because once the husband gets on your nerves, bing, I hit the chakra. Shut up.
And Janet, you're not wrong. So there actually is a set. Then it's a set of 2, and it's called the perfect fifth. It's called. And believe me, I have heard people, they actually do it with their spouses before they go to bed to calm them down. But anyway, that's a whole other subject as well too. So I mean, at this point, I think the biggest thing is that getting back to the chakras, and I totally skipped over this, but chakra means wheel and refers to energy points in the body. They're supposed to be spinning discs of energy that stay open and correspond to bundles of nerves, major organs, and areas of our energetic body that affect our emotional and physical well-being. So I think the biggest thing, Jen, is that, you know, we're only as emotionally balanced as we've been taught to be, right?
Well, in
Or as
our case, we're as emotionally unbalanced as we've been able to stumble through the world.
I was getting there. Yeah, 100%. And literally, that's the case, though. It's like so much of it, and believe me, like I could go on about this because so much of it is not just even in this lifetime, but talking about intergenerational trauma. You think about this for 1 second, is that like, I'll go as far back as like our grandmother, where our egg, like my mother's egg, was inside my grandmother's womb. So if my grandmother was stressed out, that stress hormone floods my grandmother's eggs, floods my mother's eggs, and then now I'm getting the effects of that stress hormone too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Sheila's there, so waiting for my set to use on
Oh, there,
Derek.
Kim.
That's what it gives it to. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, it's just crazy how that stuff happens, right? But you know, going back into things that happen with the PTSD and different, like, you know, people that have been sexually abused, their fear around speaking and self-expression could be really related to suffering a hard time and speaking out with people in that chakra, because the abuse of what they suffered or whatever the trauma that they've experienced is causing them, these energy centers, to be shut down.
Well, even right now, we're going through Truth and Reconciliation Days. Even the people who went through the residential schools, that was complete trauma. And anybody, I mean, I was in a residential school, as you know, for 3 years, and it wasn't a native residential school, but one residential school to another residential school, you get treated like shit and you have a lifetime of trauma. So
100%.
I think that this could help so many people, and they just need to open themselves up to it for real.
And you know what? That's what I really, I can't express enough, I think, Janet, is literally just having people saying, clearing out that mind chatter, and just you absolutely have nothing to lose by trying this, you know?
Stress.
And so,
yes, they've got stress to lose. And I mean, I like fat, that stress can fly to its Jesus.
well, and I'm not going to lie, but there's actually frequencies that you can actually listen to that will reduce inflammation and stress in the body, that can actually, look it up. There's stuff that you can do for frequencies to lose weight. Not even kidding you, Jen. It's amazing. This stuff is amazing. Oh, thanks, Aunt Kim. And yeah, so like this stuff is just absolutely, I mean, I'm not emphasizing enough here, Jen. This is the tip of the iceberg. This is absolutely the tip of the iceberg.
Well, in the way that the world is going, everybody is stressed out in one way or another. Out of all those 7 different chakras, it is affecting every single person watching this now, everyone who's going to watch it in the days to follow from now. They're going to need to get to the Cedars Club on, when are you coming, October 29th?
Well, I'm at the Cedars Club on the 29th. I'll be home before that, but I'm doing the sound bath on October 29th from 4 to 6. So yeah, you can get tickets on Eventbrite. It's donation based, or show me that you made a donation to the food bank, and you're more than welcome to come in just based on that, because gosh knows this time of year we need that stuff for the homeless and stuff like that, and people that are just in need right now. There's lots of people.
Exactly. And also we'll start doing a weekly show, just because it's good for the mind, it's good for the body, and it's good to get rid of the stress. If you can give yourself and help other people to have tools to build on them each week, because this seems like it's an overtime process.
100%. And so what I would like to offer, Jen, is basically, like what we can do, like a guided meditation. I'll guide people into the meditation of helping clear their chakras. And then we can do a sound bath afterwards. I have got all the equipment that I can play this over live, but I do recommend anybody that's going to listen onto the sound bath or the meditation to have headphones, just so that they can get the full effects of it through the system. But just want to go backtrack for a second here on the breath work part of the stuff, because that's going to be another big part of incorporating stress. Like, people don't really understand how important our breath is and how we literally forget about it. Like, we'll be concentrating on something and our breath goes so shallow, and that in itself creates stress in our body by not properly breathing. So being, in yoga teacher training, the one thing that they're teaching us to emphasize on is the breath, and, yoga is so much more than just actually doing postures and stuff like that. They really teach you how to go inward, not how to move. So
I'm thinking, is my breath stinky?
yeah. Well, no one's going to smell it. And if they do smell it, their eyes are closed, so they're not going to know where it's coming
Right?
from.
The good thing about doing a production from home.
Yeah, exactly. That too.
Oh, too funny.
But so the heart coherence breath work that I'll be doing at the Cedars Club with the sound breath or the sound bath is just to get us into that relaxed state. And so, especially if no one has been exposed to a sound bath before, I want to show them how to relax first so that they can get the full effects of the sound bath as well. And so the breath work part will just be, simple breathing, nasal breathing that'll get everybody to do. I'm going to emphasize now that I don't make everybody follow the way I'm doing it. I've always promoted it as a way of doing breath work to what works for your body, especially if you've never done breath work. So like you're used to probably, diaphragmatic breathing where it's shallow and you don't usually do things that take a deep breath, like people just breathe differently. So I will guide on the counts and stuff like that, but of course do that. But the breath work itself, it activates the vagus nerves, which is responsible for regulating the heart rate. This can lead to decrease in blood pressure. If you've got high blood pressure, obviously stress, cortisol levels, all that stuff comes back to the breath. So again, another thing for us to do to reduce stress is just coming back to the breath. How many times have you noticed when you're stressed out, the first thing you do is sigh, right? Like you're like, right? That's the body's natural response of wanting to release what's happening, right? And so taking in that deep breath, getting it into the bottom of the lungs, not only is it helping with bringing oxygen to the bottom of the lungs, but the effect of the vagus nerve has a great benefits on our system, right? And so the heart coherence, I have to say, is what probably initially got me out of anxiety. Like, you're talking like major anxiety, panic attacks. Jan, I can't even tell you how many times I've gone to emerge, in prior years thinking I was dying of a heart attack, and then, it's anxiety. It's anxiety, And so, and that I know was just because I was leading a stressful life. And then when I say stressful life, it was like I was working, 12, 15-hour days, single mom with 4 kids. Like, it just, the list goes on and on. But it's no different than the next person. We all have stress in our life, whether it's a work routine, a home routine, whatever it is. But again, focusing on that breath, just coming back, and everything. I can't emphasize enough what I've learned in the last couple of years is that there is nothing that can't wait. And I promise you, unless someone's dying and you have to get there to, pay your last respects, then I suggest you make yourself a priority when you're stressed out to literally just stop. And at the very minimal, take 3 deep breaths. And I would put money in out of the bank on it that anybody that says after 3 deep breaths that they didn't feel some reduction in the stress that they were feeling prior to breathing. It's just something that we forget about. It's pranayama is so important. And we just take it for granted, right? We just take it for granted.
Breathing is it's such a I don't know, we do it without even thinking about it. It's a natural, occurrence. I don't know if it's anaerobic or what the actual term is of it, but there is a term that we breathe and we don't even think about breathing until you're like, you hold your breath and like, I need to breathe. So that has a huge impact on how I am. I find myself a lot of times, definitely breathing is helpful.
And so one of the biggest things is that I talk about in the breath work when I do the breath work is that if you notice that when you do stress out, you tend to like that solar plexus tight. So you're not breathing properly. You're not getting that breath in to where it is. So we store a lot of trauma there. Believe it or not, like our brain is not the only place. Our body stores trauma more than our brain. And the thing is that our body remembers how to react to certain situations. So, you sense a smell, it's your body recognizes a smell or the sound or whatever that's triggering you to a traumatic event, but it's your body that's reacting to that. And so, on a chemical level, the body just, as soon as you think that thought, the brain automatically shoots out those chemicals and your body's reacting. And 90% of the time that's, the anxiety portion of it. But yeah, it's just learning to, for one, just go within and just literally find that breath and know that there is nothing in this world that is more important than you. You literally have to take care of you. And like, I say this lightly because, I'm an empath myself and I tend to put others before myself. And it's a practice daily for myself to put myself first sometimes.
But learned that because we were always put last, and we always look and feel, we don't want other people to feel how we felt. So we're always trying to accommodate other people's feelings over our own. But if we're sad at the end of the day, how did that help us?
Yeah, you're not filling your cup up. And that's what I've learned is that, you know what, okay, I can still be there for all these people and be supportive and do all the things that I want to do for other people, but I can't do it from an empty cup. No. And so that's why I made it important for me to make that self-care routine and literally physically do it. And yeah, there's days this is not a like, oh, it works 100% of the time. This is it'll work 100% of the time when you give your 100%. That's right. What it comes down to, right?
That's very well said.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just getting this, I think for me, it's just getting this knowledge out to people is the biggest thing, because no matter how much I do as far as providing, doing these sound baths and stuff like that, if people don't choose to want to do it for themselves, it's never going to get done either. Right. And so my biggest thing is that some people are shy. They're like, oh, I don't want, the ego gets in the way and they're like, oh, people will think I'm crazy if I go to these things, or they'll think I'm a hippie. Like, you wouldn't believe the amount of times I get called a hippie for this stuff. But to me, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's just negative people, Jan. You know what I mean? Like, there's just negative people out there. Right. And so I've learned to discern what's good and what do I want to take away from that. Right. And so some of it, even though it's negative, some of it is informative, and we get to choose what we take from it. Right. And
to me, those people are not ready for this type of thing. They are still in the, everything is wrong with them, but they're also, everything is right with them too. They're not ready to accept any changes because they are, not ready for new things. I am. I'm going to be 50 in 2 more months, and I need something to not be stressed out.
Yay.
I can't wait to learn these new tools. Now, I want you to show everybody the sound bath, but don't show them how it works. Just give them a little teaser of what it looks like.
Okay. All right. So this is the Tibetan bowl, and this is for the heart chakra. It's the F sharp, and this is what it sounds like. Not as good if you don't have headphones on, but we're going to give it a shot. That'll reverberate for probably about 10 minutes. And if you can imagine this bowl with 7 crystal bowls, and I've got quite a few other modalities that I use. I have song pods. I have a swinging chime, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not taking all of the bowls to Sydney, but there will be enough bowls that we can certainly do a good sound bath. But I am bringing all the small modality stuff so that we'll definitely be able to have a good sound bath. I do want to mention that if you do choose to come to this, it's something that bringing your own mat or your own yoga mat or blanket, whatever it is that you want to be comfortable with. It is at the Cedars Club. I've never been in myself, but I'm sure it's like a regular dance floor. So you want to bring something comfortable to cushion yourself to lay down for a couple hours. I will go through, obviously, the do's and the don'ts prior to the sound bath. So those that are coming, I do appreciate people coming at least 15 minutes. Well, sorry, no, not before 15 minutes before. And certainly I will always only allow 5 minutes after the start time. And then I do shut the doors just for the people that have already, kind of zoned in and are honed into what's happening. And we don't want to disrupt people. So
exactly.
Yeah. So I do kind of speak that spiel just so that we have, people understand that it's not something that you can just kind of come crashing into 15 minutes late, because it does disrupt the energy of the room. So
they'll reverse the whole reason we all went. They'll stress us out and we went to unstress.
Exactly. No, you're not wrong. That's exactly what the whole point is, though. And it does happen. Like, there'll be people that'll, I don't know, somebody might fidget next to them or whatever. So do get that, and they'll get annoyed. But this is where, someone will come to me afterwards and they'll say, oh, that person was moving around the whole time. It's not that other person's fault that was moving around the whole time. You have to learn how to disassociate that stuff around you and go inward. That's what this is all about. So, it's about
and
trying
that's a good skill, because you could be at a bus and have somebody on a bus. This could translate to so many other aspects of your life that will help you overcome things that you've had problems with. So look, Deborah's going to come. Right now, due to my lifestyle as an empath, have major anxieties. This affected me more than I can say. I'm in the hospital. The stress affected my heart. Are you serious, Deb? You're in the hospital? Well, I hope you're not in the hospital when Shelly comes home, because I'll pick you up and bring you there myself if your daughter's not coming with you, because this is something that we need, Deb. She's a good friend of mine.
And Deb, I just, even in the hospital, if you got a set of headphones, go onto YouTube and look at some of that 528 hertz. That is amazing for heart problems as well. That could definitely resonate some of the heart stuff. Just a little bit of advice with the stress that's affecting your heart. I would definitely do some inflammatory. Go on and look for frequencies for inflammation. Get on some of that stuff, listening to that. Even if you just leave it on low in your hospital room and you're going about your other stuff, doing, whatever you're doing in the room, your subconscious mind will absorb that music. So you don't have to be like all honed in on just listening to this music. It's something that you can have playing in the background. Your body will pick it up and resonate with it.
Yeah, Deb, YouTube the 528 hertz and bring up some of that music. Honestly, instantly during the earlier in the feed, we played it and I felt a calming effect go over my whole body. And I know that you'll feel it too, because like us, Deb, you said you're an empath, and we all us empaths know exactly what the other one's thinking, because we're all feeling it.
And I wish you speedy healing, Deb.
Yes, me too.
You lots of love and light, darling.
That's sweet. Yeah, Deb's an awesome lady. Hopefully we're going to be seeing her there, and she can learn from this and get out of the hospital. Nobody wants to be there.
Yeah. Not what I've heard of how the hospital is down there. That's for damn sure.
What's that? Yeah, we're talking about music today. Yes, nice. I sure was. Oh, you were. They were talking about music today. Me and Maria are always talking about music. You're welcome, Deb. She says, thanks so much. You're love welcome. My cousin Shelly Lynn. She's an absolute angel. And she's going to teach us all on how to be able to handle things that normally we can't handle. And as you know me, I can't handle fucking much.
Well, and practice makes progress, girls. So we're going to get you there.
So, I mean,
Jen, I want to share with you, like, on that level, like, I've been there. I've been that person that, like, would react. Like, and literally, when you start not reacting to stuff that you normally would, you'd be like, you feel so proud. You're just like, he didn't piss me off, or she didn't piss me off. Like, you feel so empowered when you make that change that you didn't allow somebody else to wreck your peace. You know what I mean? And I think that is the biggest takeaway from all of this for me, is just learning to control that. Realistically, nobody can make you feel anything unless you allow it, right? And I mean, that's easier said than done. I know there's tons of traumas out there that people need to unlearn the behaviors that came from those traumas, and it's not a piece of pie.
I've got Ahmed syndrome. I kill you.
Oh, Jen, I love you.
You're so awesome. I totally need the bowl, the chakra, the tuner thing. I need it all.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna send you some stuff that you can get for yourself that's reasonably in a budget that literally you can do yourself, Jen. And the Perfect Fifth tuning forks, they are probably one of my favorite all times that I first got. And literally, stressful day from work, I just put these things in my ears. I'm not even kidding you. There was days that I would take it to work and go in the bathroom and put them in just go sit in the bathroom and do it, because no one can hear them. Only you can hear the sound when it's up to your ears, right? And at that point, the stressful day that I was having, they all knew that I was holistic. And Shelly, they come over and ask, what are you doing today, Shell? How are we going to de-stress today, Shell? It's like, we're in the boardroom. We're going to have some breath work.
I'm too calm. They'll think, Jesus,
I'll do that stuff at work.
By an alien. Bring on the aliens is all I can say.
Well, now that's a whole other conversation. Not aliens, but sacred geometry is something else that I'm into, and that stuff is really something that resonates along with sound and frequency as well, because those things are great. Another thing is that there's tons of guided meditation. So if you're a person that says, I just can't stop the mind chatter when I'm meditating. I can't meditate. I can't meditate. I can't tell you the people that have told me that they can't meditate, and I've, guided them to a guided meditation on YouTube, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and increased, and they're doing like hour-long meditations now. So there's tons of people out there. Jason Stevenson is one of the ones that I kind of started with. He's really amazing for short meditations. Dr. Joe Dispenza is kind of my all-time favorite, but there's tons of stuff. There's Louise Hay. Who's the other guy? Dr. Oh gosh, he's not coming to me right now, but
don't worry, he will. Just as soon as you close your eyes tonight, he's going to pop in your head.
I'll be like, that's the guy. But yeah, you can look up tons of stuff on trauma. So dealing with trauma bonds. Mark Groves is the guy that I follow. Him and Terry Cole. I've done some training stuff with them. They have tons of stuff on Instagram. That's, you can just go and take stuff like that.
I'm lucky. If I want to tap into trauma, all I got to do is call my mama.
Oh God. Well, and then there's trauma bonds that we can deal with. But yes, let's just definitely say that maybe you can help your mom.
Oh God. Even God can't help her.
Love and light.
The light. Oh God, let the light come over me. Let something come over me.
Oh, you kill me. Sheila's laughing her ass off.
Oh yeah. Too freaking funny. Well, we're almost at the end of the show, so we got 3 more minutes. I like to keep things at an hour so that we don't be a long movie like Stephen King.
So just to kind of recap, I guess then is if you want, is to just if you're looking for things, look up chakras, look at what they are in the body. This can help you more along the lines for the meditation as well at the Cedars Club. Looking up frequencies, what different frequencies do to your body, so that you're familiar with it, so you're not going in blindsided to what's happening in the sound bath. Look up what is a sound bath, what are the effects of a sound bath, how does it work. There's no negative sound effects except for pregnancy in the first term. Not recommended, just because it can shift things in the body. So we don't want people having babies. So it just after that, they're like all for it. In fact, I've done some sound baths for doulas that are going to incorporate possibly doing sound baths at people giving labor or giving birth. So that'll be cool if I actually can get in and do some of those things. So this thing is, it's coming so much to fruition that people are seeing the great benefits of it. So it's just getting the word out there, getting it out there and showing people what's available, right?
And how to start it. That's the
yes.
So she gets on the Cedars Club when she comes October 29th. It's from 4 to 6, right? That's what I got down there. Yeah. And it's by donation. So you can go on Eventbrite and sign up for it then and register. And you can bring either a food item to the food bank. Just take a picture of yourself so that you could show Shelly that you made, Shelly Lynn, that you made a donation to the food bank. It doesn't matter which food bank, as long as it's a Cape Breton food bank. That's all that matters. And you've got your picture with your goods, passing it off to the food bank. Other than that, we're going to do this on Sunday mornings. And why I'm thinking Sunday morning, Shelly, it's because Sunday is the first real day of the week, and it can set you into a good flow and start people off on the right foot, so to speak. So we'll do it Sunday mornings. And anybody has any questions, you can inbox, direct message me or Shelly Lynn on Facebook. You just look up Shelly Lynn and tell them how to find you in case that they can't find. There's a million Shelly Lynn.
So I'm on Facebook as Shelly Lynn, or the actual Balanced Souls. So Balanced Souls is on Facebook. It's on Instagram. It's on TikTok, or you can go to my website www.balanced-souls.ca. You can email me at any time, and I'm at balancedSouls3@gmail.com. And you can find me on Eventbrite as well as Balanced Soul. So I'm out there. I'm all over the place. Can be found. So
excellent.
Even if it's just to come and say hi, ask me some advice, I'm all happy to give it.
Excellent. So we'll be here next Sunday early in the morning. We'll do it at 8 a.m. Cape Breton time, which is going to be 5 a.m. Alberta time. Oh God, you are dedicated. See how much she wants to make sure we're living well-balanced and non-stressful lives. And if she can fix me, she can fix any of us. As you all know, just how stressed out I am. My God, seaweed stresses me out.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget
Thanks.
to stay tuned on Sundays. Bye, guys. Have a great night.